BBC Hooniverse.
You're watching the TGM production.
Hello, welcome to the Mega Daleks. This is a sequel to the Ultimate Dalek because it was 20 minutes and I was adding bits onto it. I thought, it's getting incredibly long, so I stopped. But I've been thinking, could have been longer because there's still a lot more footage from yonder year when I talk about the Dalek that would be useful. So, here's what's going to occur. The Mega Daleks is our final version in this saga, but I decided to change the word Ultimate to Mega Dalek to Daleks, because it all just sounds a lot better. So you're going to see past versions of the memoir talking about the Daleks. Some of them might be in audio, might. I confirmed there was yesterday, but there wasn't. There might. So I'm going to look at what I did yesterday, because I've still got it in the editing timeline. Then we're going to look back, so I could talk more about the Daleks. Exterminate, exterminate. Questioning Dalek is not included, neither is anything with any of my comedy characters, because we don't need any of that, or my radio show I did once about the Daleks. None of that, but other than that, there'll be just me with different hair. Longer, shorter, longer and shorter. Exterminate, exterminate. Let's watch it now. Enjoy! If the Beatles didn't invent the word Beatlemania, would we have the Daleks inventing the word Dalek Mania in the 60s? I think the answer to that question is no. What I mean by that is that I think it is the term Dalek Mania only came about because the Beatles coined the phrase Beatlemania, and I do think that if the Beatles didn't do that, if the Beatles weren't that popular, the Daleks wouldn't have had that phrase coined, because obviously you have to have a catalytic event for it to occur. So I'll repeat that once more. If the Beatles never invented the word Beatlemania, or whoever invented Beatlemania, it probably wasn't the Beatles themselves. Then, to be honest, if I've got to be really honest, then come out SD card. I think that yes, 200 appearance was nice, but I just don't think it was needed. Like this time, you can tell Doctor Who's not in a good place because it wasn't even mentioned on Comic Relief last night. So you can sort of see that it's not in the right place. And I think that's the type of thing I'm going to talk about. I don't know why I'm talking to myself, but I thought that was a good idea and a good thing to do. So here we are. Me. Let me check if that's connected. Oh, protected SD card. Keeps happening to me, this. Lord Davros, even though Davros is evil, I don't think he could return. Oh, Davros should return. Oh, Davros should return. It's an awful name to spell. I don't know, I'm going to do that right. Will this work now? Ah, it's protected. Great. I'm here for the next 4 years at this rate. Right. This is still being protected. I've got one last job to do before I can start recording. Obviously, we're going to talk about Davros. So the film's going to be called Could Davros Return? It's like asking if Mykonos could return. I do think Adric could return for a one-off. If I'm thinking of future films, I think would Edric Return would be a good sequel to Would Davros Return. I could do that. Let me just tie that up. Yeah, so I think that me talking about the fact that Davros should return on with the Daleks for probably the next series. I want this is a Christmas special because that's going over the top slightly. So I think in the next series, I think that's what could happen. I mean, should it happen is a completely different question for a completely different day. But if you think about it, you've got to ask those questions. If you're going to make stuff online, you've got to ask those questions. Right, so let me turn that light on. Make sure we still stand centre. Knock the light off. Right, Albert, now Bingo Bob. No, not Albert. No, I'm talking to Bingo Bob. Bingo Bob, can I just borrow your hat again? Well, because I want to. And because I quite liked it when I used it last time. I'm going to try and find another hat, right? But I quite liked wearing it. I think it worked with this scenario. Nope, no, you don't want me to use it again? Okay, well, I'm going to use the cowboy hat. If that's alright. Yeah, okay. I'll put your hat down. I'll put the cowboy hat on. Right, okay. Right, I'm going to get ready to press record. Let me get the recording box. We're going to talk about Davros. Let's get ready. Oh no. I accidentally pressed record on the voice recorder and it's been recording for 7 minutes. Well, actually, I'm going to have to find out what that fudge was. That is now seems usable. It probably will be. Actually, it probably might be usable. Let's press record. Right. Hello, and welcome to this channel. If the audio was salvageable from before, you'll have just heard it. Today we're talking about is Davros, or could Davros return? I personally think yes. Now, we had Davros in a Children Need special that was a few years earlier, but I think that Davros could return because I think that he's fun, he's interesting, he's the type of character that there's a lot you can do with him, right? There's a lot you can do with Davros still that hasn't yet been done. And I think that's one of the things the Doctor Who can learn about and can learn from is that even without Davros being there, I think Davros is the overarching character that will help put a bridge or a ladder between New Who in post Disney era and Classic Who pre-2005, but mainly the last time we saw Davros because it gives a connection between them and says, look, this is where we're at with the whole shebang. This is what's going on. This is why this has happened, and blah de blah. And I think that would make it more, I don't know, interesting, but it also reverses what happened at the Christmas the Children Need special, because that's technically, if I'm not mistaken, I think the way Russell was trying to get across that was a prequel to the Davros we knew. That wasn't the Davros going forwards, because I think what Davros is compared to the Daleks is the Daleks are creatures that are inside a metal shell, and I think Davros, to me, if we're really trying to not obviously say what it actually is, but say what I think it is, I think Davros sort of portrays himself or themselves as a half Dalek, half human, but he chose the method of most resistance. So in the process, it got stuck in this hybrid format. I think that's my opinion of how it's happened. And I know there's like controversies around it, which we're not going to go into, but I think having Davros like that is modern day Davros, and the Davros we saw in the Johnny Need special is prequel Davros, in my opinion. And I think a lot of it is about having your own opinion as to what's really going on, and as to what the matter is. I think that's what makes it more interesting. I think that's what adds to the conversation a lot more, because when you really think about it, you have to have your own opinion. You need to have your own thoughts, and I think jumping on a bandwagon about Davros wasn't really necessary. So, to forwardly answer my question a lot more, could Davros return? Yes. When will that happen? I think that won't happen until we have our second full series and we know what's going on by that point, because obviously we're up in the air at the moment with the Christmas special. We're up in the air whether or not when the next series is. America and the world that in Britain are up in the air when the war between the land and the sea will air. So there's a lot of up in the air bits at the moment, and so Davros returning would be nice, but I just don't think that's going to happen for I don't think that's going to happen for quite some time, and that's unfortunate, really. That really is unfortunate. And I think there's nothing we can do about it, right? The show's having its moments. Yes, like people do set tours, but no one's actually on the set filming, so it's a little bit like, really? But I think Davros returning will be on the checklist of things I want to see happen within the world of Doctor Who within the next X amount of years, because we don't know the future of Doctor Who. I can't really give a definitive answer of how many years I'm willing to wait before Davros needs to return. I think the Daleks in general need to return. I think we can do an updated design again on the Cybermen, and they can return, but it's like a different breed of Cybermen this time, so it's a new race of Cybermen. I think an episode where the Mondasians attack the parallel universe Cybermen would be incredible. It would be a sort of fascinating story of how they sort of meld that together. But more to the point before we wrap up here, I think that Davros should return because he's fun, interesting, and the fact that he sucked out some of the regeneration energy could be a sore point for the Doctor still. And I think Davros being confused how the Doctor's still going would be an interesting scenario, depending on which version or what number of Doctor we're at that moment in time. So, there we have it. That's me talking about should Davros return, and the answer is yes. Could he return? Possibly. Would he return? I don't know. That's another question for another day. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. Hopefully you enjoyed the audio. If the audio actually was any good, because I just want more opinions. Like my opinion there about Davros returning. I just want more opinions. Should the Daleks return? Should is the word. If you can hear rustling, that's because I'm not sure if I'm holding the microphone the right way. Should the Daleks return? What I mean by that is not get rid of them completely, just does every Doctor need the Daleks? So Russell stopped using them for a bit because they're overused, and I'll be honest, because I don't entirely agree with that. Well, I half agree with it. Overused is a little bit of a strong word, because the only time we actually used the Daleks in the Chris Chibnall era was in the New Year's specials, so I do sort of see what he meant by that ever so slightly. But overall, I don't think he used them that much. It was a little bit of, oh yes, I've got some Daleks, let's have a crack at utilising them. But he didn't overuse them. He used them once at New Year's, But I think that not having the Daleks in Series 14 was, by the end of it, was sort of a good thing, because I don't think Sutek would have worked with the Daleks. I think not having them in Series 15 would be alright as well. But having them in Series 16, so that Shooty's at least had to go with the Daleks. Shooty might last till Series 19, who knows, but I think that waiting 2 series before using them is a good idea. It's a good plan, and it would work overall. I think that utilising the element of them not being there means that we can get new monsters, other returning alien and creatures and monsters, and that we can then utilise the Daleks in a bigger and better way by the time we've learned what the Doctor's strengths are. So on the right for Shooty, they know Shooty's strengths in acting, Shooty's weaknesses, what Shooty can do performance-wise, so that when they come to say, yes, we need to go do such a thing, they've got a better idea of how to utilise the Daleks. They've come up with ideas of how to improve the Daleks, so why not give them a new coating, new colours. The story would be better because it would have 2 series to deliberate, and they can, even in Series 15, they can drop hints that the Daleks might return. But I think Series 16 should have Davros returning, and then the Daleks return after Davros. So I think we need Davros back. But when I say we need Davros back, I'm hopefully mean the Davros that we all know and love, the one that's half mutilated creature man and half Dalek, because even though I like the children need Davros, I think it'd be odd having him back, that Davros, who looks nothing like the Davros everyone remembers, because that Davros was just about to create the Daleks. All this was about to happen, like the prequel Davros, but because Russell wrote that Davros then, will he ever write this Davros now, though? I like the Davros everyone knows. I don't know. I don't mind either way. I just think it'll be odd if we were going back in time where Davros is. Well, I mean, if we bring the Davros that hasn't even invented the Daleks yet to defeat the Doctor, they don't even know yet, it seemed really odd. So I think that having the Davros that knows who the Doctor is, knows about everything, and has had traumatic experience with trying to build the Daleks, and now he's trapped. Hello, sorry for the bad quality. Editing Tom here. I am currently editing today's video. I am 5 minutes and 2 seconds. 5 minutes and 12 seconds. Well, 2 seconds and 12 milliseconds into it. And I've noticed that the microphone makes this sound beep, 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 beep. And I want to first of all apologise. Second of all, I need to now round off the video because I've stopped it at the point where I said, where I've stopped it, but I've stopped it just before the beeping got more out of control. Do I know why the beeping? No. Will I ever know why the beeping? Probably not. Will I be using that again? Not in a while, due to the fact that I need to discover what the issue is in a lot more detail and look at the settings. And look at the actual device, so I can do that later. So, what we're doing is we're just going to round up the video. So I think that the Daleks returning would be fascinating, interesting, and hopefully that we get another new colour. I'd like a purple Dalek with the domes being yellow, purple and yellow Dalek. Experimental. Anarchic. Alternative. These are the words that I represent. These are the words that I showcase. These are the words that bleed into my heart. These are the words that represent. The Cybermen are all about removing motion. The Cybermen are always trying to get rid of that tear. The Daleks, otherwise, are the opposite. The Daleks are the menace. The Daleks are the evil. The Daleks are the one they want to destroy. The Daleks can fly now. Well, they have been. They have since 2005. Your question. You think, you ponder, but you never know the true meaning of anything. You think, okay, that Dalek's quite scary, but you open it up inside and you realise. You ask Davros his opinion on Daleks. You ask Davros his philosophy, and he's like a tortured soul on the inside. It's like someone that is trapped, but also wants to break free at the same time. It's hard to describe, but the emotion, the fear, the terror in the eye of Davros is blatantly obvious for everyone to be able to see. And you know, it's not like it's going to destroy the world. No. It's just going to destroy sort of civilization. You meet Davros as a child and find out Davros is a human. You sort of question what that could mean. You ponder at who you think Davros really is, and to be honest, you never know. You never know who Davros truly is, because who we think Davros truly is isn't who Davros truly is. Davros is everything. Davros is evil. Davros is maniacal. Davros is that one enemy you don't want the Doctor to face. Davros has tried to survive all these years manipulating the Doctor. Then you move on. You get, I would say, the sort of pre-Emperor Dalek. Now the pre-Emperor Dalek is red with silverish sort of bronze like armour, I would say. The type of bronze, the sort of it's type of bronze that is menacing, right? It's the evil type of bronze, not your nice, maniacal, non-evil bronze, and that's just a no-no, really. It's hard to sort of describe. It's hard to sort of think. So many questions, so little answers, not enough time to sort of digress, not enough time to sort of go, hang on a second, that's what it means. There's not enough time for any of that, because the Daleks are, well, the Daleks are the masters of the universe, the evil. He-Man is apparently the master of the universe, but personally, I don't agree with that as a statement. Every day, I question. Every day, I try and find what I like to call a solution. Every day, I try and work out, what is a Dalek? I sit at my desk, and I look. I stare. I think, today's the day I'll know. I stare at the Dalek and go, who are you? And it calls back and says, exterminate. You will not perform this monologue. You will not perform this story. You will be destroyed. Our mission will not fail. And I think, your mission will always fail. In the universe of the Doctor, in the universe of Doctor Who, the Daleks will always be defeated. No matter who you are, what you are, where you are, everything above, the Daleks will be defeated. We'll fight them on the beaches, as Winston Churchill once said, but we'll fight them in the airspace. Yes, works. Yes, pushing works. Yes, so many avenues work. But we'll destroy them. We'll kill them. I mean, there's humane ways of doing it, like trying to pull their head off. Or if you've ever seen the 60s film with Burning Cribbins, then you'll know there is definitely other avenues to sort of destroy the Daleks. But I think that they're an interesting villain, and having sort of loved Doctor Who my entire life, these are the enigma. These are the ones that go, really? What's this all about then? And I just love the mystery. I just love the intrigue. I just love the Daleks. Yes, they're better than Cybermen. Yes, I'll say that. And yes, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. But I guarantee you that we'll agree that if anyone was hiding behind the sofa, I highly doubt that really happened. I've not seen any photographic evidence. Then the Daleks are the villains now more than ever because they can now fly. Fly! 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 Is what they can now do. And it showcases the menace, the evil, and it just showcases how mean they are. It's sort of the Dalek problem. Because it's a problem the Daleks have, and they're never going to succeed, no matter how many times they try. And I just think Daleks are beautiful. They're incredible. Because there's so much more to them than just them. It's like Cybermen, there's more to Cybermen than just their shell. And I think that's something you need to embrace. Don't forget to subscribe to the official Tom Mason YouTube channel.